One day, last summer, I trudged hungrily into the kitchen and began rummaging through the fridge, trying to find something I felt I could eat. How about a bowl of Cheerios? You could use skim milk, my mom suggested. No, too many calories, I answered. You could have a piece of fruit. How about a banana smoothie? No, Mom, I snapped. I can't. You don't understand. I can't. And she didn't understand. I really couldn't. My name is Maren Lewis, and last summer I had developed many disordered eating habits just because I'd downloaded a handful of healthy apps that encouraged extreme dieting, eliminating food groups, and counting calories. Today, I would like to talk to you about the widespread use of diet apps by teens and the dangers of food restriction. According to a survey from Be Real, a campaign group that promotes body confidence for adults and adolescents, more than half of all teenagers worry about how they look, and they see dieting as the solution. In fact, 1 in 3 teenage girls of a healthy weight are on a diet. Unfortunately, app developers are far too familiar with these trends. On the surface, health apps like MyFitnessPal, for example, seem like they could be really helpful. The problem, though, is that dieting, defined as caloric restriction with a goal of weight loss, is a serious risk factor for developing an eating disorder. These apps, though they are appealing, are insidious, and they can have disastrous effects on young people. Teenagers should not be downloading them, and these apps should not be marketed towards adolescents. Even teens who actually like their bodies are at risk. For many teens, the problem starts when they download apps that seem to promote healthy behaviors. They seem innocuous. These teenagers, and their parents too, just want to try and eat healthy as a preventative measure. But tracking leaves young people feeling trapped. An article by the American Academy of Pediatrics about preventing eating disorders explains that some adolescents may misinterpret what healthy eating is and then engage in unhealthy behaviors, such as skipping meals or using fad diets in an attempt to be healthier, the result of which could be the development of an eating disorder. Users of these kinds of apps can lose their ability to sense their own hunger and make their own decisions about food, and that can result in either severe weight loss or weight gain. Weight gain may seem like an unusual result, but that same article about eating disorder prevention continues to explain that children who diet in 9th grade are more likely to be overweight in 12th grade. As stated by Grandview Research, a market research firm, the diet industry is valued at around $200 billion, and it's still growing. This industry is truly inescapable. TV, social pressure, and social media all contribute to this diet trap, but now that countless dieting apps are being created for electronic devices like phones, which about every teenager has, it's even harder to stay away from these diets. Kids are being force-fed these apps. A quick search on the Apple iOS App Store, and you'll find tool after tool claiming to help you achieve your desired body through tracking. Interested in just not eating at all? Check out fasting app 0 Calories to track how much you aren't eating. If you're into restricting certain food categories, there's Carb Manager. Tracking calories? Try Calorie Counter by Fat Secret. But the app that seems the most alarming, because it's specifically designed and marketed towards adolescents, is Kurbo. Kurbo was developed by WW, formerly known as Weight Watchers. It is Weight Watchers for kids, but on an easy-to-use app. And here is how it works. Foods are labeled as being in one of 3 big categories. There's red, yellow, and green. Think of a traffic light. Green means go. Green foods are good foods, and you can eat all you want. Yellow means be careful. Yellow light foods need to be watched out for, and they have to be counted. Kurbo says that red light foods don't need to be eliminated, just restricted, But come on, red light means stop, right? On Kurbo, as you track your foods, messages are sent congratulating you if you eat a green light food, but when you eat a yellow or a red light food, messages are sent reminding you that you could have made a better choice. These messages feel like chastisements. And yellow and red light foods include some pretty healthy choices, like all dairy products except for fat-free milk, all whole grains, most meats, and all oils and nuts. It encourages kids to think of these as bad foods. Anna M. Lutz, a registered dietitian, states that adults can understand this abstract idea of red, yellow, and green foods, but children interpret it concretely and rigidly, leading to food obsession, counting, and restriction. Kurbo also celebrates success by showing glowing transformation pictures of young people losing weight, promoting this idea that weight loss is necessary to improve your health and your self-worth. In 2016, the American Academy of Pediatrics advised doctors and parents to avoid conversations specifically about weight rather than health. Well, diet and fitness apps are actually like having a 24-hour conversation just about weight, but with all the amplified negative effects. A peer-reviewed study from the Journal of Medical Internet Research found that nutrition and fitness apps caused young people to feel guilty, obsessed, and isolated. These apps are truly malicious. And here's an example. Dietitian and nutritional counselor Leslie Schilling had an 11-year-old who had fallen into this app trap. This is an 11-year-old. As part of a health assignment for school, this boy had started to track his incoming and his outgoing calories, which seems pretty healthy, right? He tracked every bit of food he ate and every physical activity because he had such helpful apps. But after 3 months of tracking, he had become afraid of food. He had drastically cut his calorie intake and he was exercising way too much. This 11-year-old boy cried when Schilling asked him to delete his tracking apps. He asked her how he would ever know what to eat. And without a doubt, she says, "I routinely recommend my clients delete these kinds of apps." Blogger and eating disorder victim Lillian Stone writes about a similar situation. She says she tracked her food since the age of 10. She writes, "These systems have left me with a mental index of good and bad foods, like broccoli good and bread bad, and calorie counts. Honeycrisp apples, 130 calories, Gala apples, 80. I realized I had a problem a few months ago. I had joined some friends for dinner, and I had ordered a spicy Korean rice bowl. Immediately after finishing this bowl, panic struck. There was no way to know the exact number of calories in the dish, which meant that I couldn't log it into MyFitnessPal, and if I couldn't classify the meal as good or bad, then I wouldn't know whether or not to punish myself." She goes on to say that with help from her therapist, she's deleted her calorie counting apps for good. Kids and teens need to delete their tracking apps. They are dangerous and they can lead to obsession and misery. And parents should be checking their kids' phones and should strongly encourage that they delete their tracking apps. That summer day, as I tossed aside every food I could find, I truly could not make a choice on what to eat. I had become incapable of it. With each food I considered, my mind churned through its implications and the feedback I would receive from those diet apps. Diet apps, instead of giving me health advice, filled me with guilt, dread, and hunger. Eventually, my parents made me put my phone away before eating so that I couldn't count the calories in each bite. I unsubscribed to my Kurbo account and deleted all of my other tracking apps. At first, I was incredibly stressed out and anxious, but eventually I regained the ability to listen to my body and make food choices once again. App makers, please understand the negative effects these apps are having on kids' physical and mental health. Stop marketing these apps towards adolescents. So, if diet plans and tracking apps are disastrous, what is appropriate? Well, parents can talk about healthy eating instead of talking about weight. Families can share more meals together to promote a healthy social environment around food. And when meal planning, teens and parents alike can consider adding rather than taking away foods, like adding fruits and vegetables. To be healthy, let's follow apps that promote mindfulness and intuitive eating. And please, let's not fall into the app trap.